Our top stories this morning begins in Central Africa. The head of the United Nations peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Bintou Keita, has called on community and political leaders to refrain from provocations that could lead to further divisions and ultimately violence. UN Deputy Spokesperson Fatou Haq conveyed Keita's comments while speaking to reporters in New York.
Now, he said that she condemned the proliferation of messages inciting hatred, violence and hostility between communities in several country provinces.
Resurgence in hate speech comes at a time when the Democratic Republic of the Congo is experiencing an important mobilization of its defense and security forces to restore peace and security in the east. This, Ms. Keita said, requires a national cohesion effort. The mission reaffirmed its determination to support Congolese authorities and also encouraged the parliament to adopt a bill against tribalism, racism, and xenophobia, which is currently under consideration in the National Assembly.
Algeria's parliamentary elections, that's something we'll be talking about now. Algeria's ruling party, the National Liberation Front, that's FLN, has won most seats in last Saturday's parliamentary election, which saw a low turnout of 23%.
Now, the FLN grabbed 105 out of 407 available seats, followed by a historic win for the independent candidates who took 78 seats.
The National Democratic Rally, RND, the party that was in rule under former President Abdelaziz Bouteflika, won 57 seats, while the largest Islamic party, the Movement for the Society of Peace, won 64.
But a total of 34 women, that's about 8.35% of the MPs, were elected in the election that was boycotted by the popular protest movement known as Hirak, now along with other political parties.
Joining us is our East African correspondent, Abdino Arden. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you too, and felicitations, Felicity. And
Good to see you.
Quite the way to put it, Arden. Felicity and felicitation. Right, Arden, morning to you now. Are we about to witness a change in power and economic growth going by the numbers? You know, Algeria's ruling party, the National Liberation Front, is looking to still have a majority in the just concluded snap general elections. Now, what are your thoughts on this one with the latest?
Now, Olisa, going by the transition following these elections, which were held on June 12th, then it means that since 2019, when the country suffered a lot of challenges, then it means a lot for the transition of the country. But in terms of speaking about power dynamics and political system, it is factory settings for the country, looking at the victory by a group that is affiliated to the former president Abdelaziz Bouteflika, who was deposed in 2019. Now, it's also the lowest ever voter turnout in the country since 1962, where the 24 million who were eligible to vote, only 30% took part, according to the ANIE, which is the polls body. Olisa.
All right.
More independent candidates are standing more than ever before, thanks in part to new rules on funding. And for the first time in an Algerian election, women make up half of the candidates. What do we make of this, really?
It indeed means that the country and its activists, who are really calling for changes in the ruling as well as the political dynamics, have had their say, but the boycott has become a major setback. Looking at even at the number of the women deputies in the parliament, where the number has fallen from 112 to 34, which is an all-time low for the republic. Now, there is some hope, though, because as we speak, the government hasn't yet been constituted, because the party, the FLN, hasn't met the 205 required threshold. Because it's 204, sorry. So it has close to 100 seats missing. Therefore, if a coalition takes place, then from the other parties, such as the MSP, the Muslim, the socialist parties, then it means there can be some constitution or constituted a politically backed organ.
All right, so just before we let you go, Abdin, we talked about the low voter turnout for Saturday's parliamentary elections, yet the high historic range of number of independent candidates. So tell us why.
Now, remember the elections were initially slated for 2022, but now due to growing pressure, they had to be brought forward. And this attracted a lot of interest as well from most of the politicians and the political activists, who 800 of them were seeking political representation. Therefore, with the growing dissent in terms of the voter boycott, as well as from the Iraq and the other Muslim political constitutions, then it means that future elections for Algeria might even be more competitive. But all this has been complicated by the referendum changes in 2019, which gave more power to the presidency and the military, which has also created doubt on the legitimacy of the election. However, the elections body, ANIE, says that they were impressed by the number of interest shown in the seats, but not on the voter turnout. Let's see what happens in the near future, Olisa.
All right, thank you very much, Abdin, our East Africa correspondent. Perhaps a fallout on the issues of Bouteflika back in 2019. But thank you once again for being on Breakfast Central.